Welcome back, America. We're here with my friend, Harvard Law Professor Emeritus, Allan Dершowitz. Allan Dершowitz, I don't know about you, but this campaign now out of the United States and the State Department and the White House against Israel is really quite shocking and appalling. It's almost as if they've opened up another war front against the state of Israel. What's your take on this?
The United States is allowing Hamas to win. And if the United States doesn't change its policy, if President Biden doesn't get more strongly behind Israel, Hamas will win. It will have accomplished all of its goals, ending the possibility of peace with Saudi Arabia, turning the world, turning academics against Israel, turning the United Nations against Israel. If Hamas is allowed to win, its terrorism is coming to a theater near you. Now, President Biden got it right the other day on Ukraine, where he said we cannot allow Putin to win, because if we allow Putin to win, he'll move into Poland, he'll move into other countries. Why does that not apply as well to Hamas? If Hamas is allowed to win, it will keep its promise of doing it again and again and again. But this time it won't be limited to Israel. It will move to Europe. It will move to the United States. It will move to our allies. We cannot allow terrorism to win. And that's what this administration, by tying Israel's hands, by saying to Israel, we're going to micromanage you, we're going to tell you how many soldiers you can send in, whether you can go into a hospital where they're holding hostages, whether you can go into Rafah, where the entire command structure of Hamas still survives and exists. If those restrictions are placed on Israel, it's an invitation to Hamas to just do it again and again and again. If crime pays, it's repeated. And if Hamas crimes are allowed to pay, they will be repeated. And this time, we will be the targets.
The obvious question then is, why is Biden, Blinken, why are they doing this? Is it for politics? Is it ideology? I mean, Blinken brought in this guy, Malley, who is a disaster. What is this all about?
This is all about politics. This is all about Michigan. This is all about trying to make sure you don't lose the Muslim vote in Dearborn, the extremist, left, woke, progressive vote. Look, if the Democrats want to win this election, they're going to have to move to the center, and they're going to have to support Israel. You do not win an election in America by turning against our ally Israel and supporting Hamas. The Biden administration is making a terrible mistake. Look, Biden has a place in his heart for Israel. So does Blinken. I've known them both. And in their hearts, they support Israel. But in their minds and with the pressures they're getting from the extreme left of the Democratic Party, they are violating their own principles, they're violating their own conscience, and they're turning against America's strongest ally in the Middle East. It will hurt America, it will hurt Israel, and I have to tell you, it will hurt the Democrats in the election, and they'll deserve it. They'll deserve to be hurt if they abandon Israel.
Well, where you and I disagree is on the heart issue. If Blinken's heart told him that he supports Israel, he never would have hired Malley. If Blinken's heart tells him he supports Israel, he wouldn't make the public comments that he's making about Israel. If Biden's heart supports Israel, he wouldn't be doing and saying and standing with the king of Jordan, saying what he said and so forth and so on, and saying things behind the scene. Let me just say this. They're undermining the state of Israel to the point where the people in Israel are feeling abandoned by the United States, and I don't blame them. What do you think?
I agree with you. And when I saw him standing next to the king and not even mentioning that Jordan has killed more Palestinians in Black September and has done more harm to the Palestinian cause and has done more harm to the cause of peace. Yes, they brought about peace in Israel, but boy, they have, during Black September, what they did to the Palestinians. And the idea that somehow Jordan is complaining about the occupation. Let's remember that Israel was prepared not to occupy a single inch of the West Bank in '67. They sent emissaries to the king of Jordan, to Abdullah's father, and said, don't attack us, and we won't even take over Jerusalem. We won't even recapture the Western Wall. And Jordan began to attack Israeli civilian targets in West Jerusalem, and it was only after that that Israel went into the West Bank and captured it. So the entire occupation issue of the West Bank was all the fault of Jordan. So let's point fingers where they deserve to be pointed, at Jordan, at Egypt, at Hamas, but not at Israel. Israel wants to be left alone. Israel wants to live in peace. It's wanted to live in peace since 1948, and the world won't allow it to. And now the world is turning against it, and particularly the young people who have no idea of the history. They think of Israel as a colonialist country. It's the least colonialist country in the world. You want to talk about colonialist countries? Talk about New Zealand, talk about Australia, talk about other countries where strangers came and took over the land. Israel, the Jewish people are the indigenous population of Israel, and they went back to their homes, and they were willing to accept a two-state solution in 1937, 1948, 1967. It's been rejected every time. This is a one-sided issue morally, and the world just refuses to see it.
We'll be right back.